Welcome everyone to the channel. I'm MJ from MJ Hobby Corner, and I will be the host for you in this video. Now, I want to welcome new subscribers. Thank you for coming on board. Thank you for your support. However long you decide to stay with us, thank you for coming on board and for your comments and everything else. So as I said yesterday in our update, in Julie's update, today is the first day that I get to open the studio after a long hibernation, and everything is ready to go, and I started my first project. Okay, so feeling a little bit off today, not 100% well, but not enough that I can't do some work. So I'm very excited to do this because I've been wanting to do this for a long time. Now I'm working on some tiles that represent the interior of a starship. And this is something that I've always wanted to game, especially two-player games, where we're in a starship and maybe it's a ship that we're doing like a salvage on, right? A ship that's drifting dead in space. And then we have a unit go in to find out what happened and all this stuff. And then maybe we can have a very cool alien style game where there's an alien infestation in the ship and all this other stuff, right? Or have it where the aliens have actually or penetrated the ship and it's the crew that's fighting for their lives inside the ship, right? So there's a lot of different ways, a lot of different things that we can do with that. Now I do have some terrain. In the beginning, close to the beginning of my channel, I worked on some modular sci-fi walls with a lot of recycled materials, and these had sliding doors and everything, and that's all good. It works great, but I wanted to have something else, something different, and something with a different design. So why don't we check out what I have, and then I can talk about the project a little more and show you guys what I'm doing with it. Okay, so first things first, I want to show this angle of the tiles because you can really see the shape of the ship. And it's a very generic kind of thing, right? And the idea is that the more tiles I make, this will be one of those like long-term projects where I add a couple of tiles here and there. The more tiles that I make, I can make different shapes of ships and different designs, right? Just by switching the tiles. This is completely modular. So this is the forward angle. Let's go around the table a little bit. Okay. And just there you see the bridge, that diamond shaped area. We have a couple of figures because I always like to keep figures around so I can measure things. And there is the back, and you can see the engine nozzles there, okay, with that. That's going to be basically a piece of terrain that goes back there, but it attaches to the ship, okay. So it's a pretty large ship, and basically this is what I'm calling A deck. This is deck A. We have a B deck that's coming, and then we're going to figure out how to put that B deck over A deck, right? So, and then we'll need ladders and things so that models can go up and down and around and all that good stuff. All right, but for now, we're going to concentrate on the tiles. Let's just get the tiles done. You know, that's the main thing before I tackle B deck, sorry. All right, so let's look at the materials real quick. For tools, my wire cutters are essential. A marker, because it's useful to mark things, you know, mark measurements and things. Some scissors, and I have several scissors. Really don't need this many, but some of these smaller ones are good for some of the finer angles. And I even have this bent scissor, which is actually a cuticle scissor, right? I bought this a long time ago, and I use this a lot because of that nice bend right there. These tools we're not going to use right now, but we will use them later, and I'll show you for what. I do have a nice sharp knife, and a lot of this cardboard that I'm using is double. It's double layered. So it's pretty strong cardboard. So this helped me a lot. It works like a little saw. And I actually do have a little saw that I use. And then some paper, filing paper. Sorry, can't think today. Filing paper, and this is also very important. I like to file the edges of my cardboard a bit. And of course, there's glue sticks and hot glue, but I also use tacky glue. And I've been using a lot of this tacky glue. Okay, this is excellent stuff, and I trust it a lot more than hot glue. Okay, so now let's see a little bit of what's going on here. Let's take these figures out. Now, this is the part of the project that, you know, may be a little strange to some. Okay, and that's because the tiles are being held together with Velcro and little wooden pegs that go right into the corrugation of the cardboard wherever possible. Okay, so that's the cool thing. So let's look at the structure. Oh, by the way, I started doing some of the walls and bulkheads, you know, things like that. That's what this represents. There aren't going to be any real walls because we want everything to be able to move our hands around, and I don't want to have too much stuff obstructing. So we're going to have to use our imaginations a lot when we work with this kind of tile system. So in order to make the ship, here's the bridge, one piece. Here is the hull, the main body, the midship. So that's one, and this is one whole big piece. This is another piece, part of the engine room. And so let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so 4 tile pieces, and the midsection is the largest. Also notice how I left this creasing here, and that's because it folds, and that's going to be very good for putting things away. All of these tiles come apart, okay? And that's another great thing about this. So let's talk a little bit about what I did. I'm going to flip this guy over, okay? And it's nice and durable. Here is the Velcro, but very important. Notice these little things here. Whenever I attach Velcro like this, it's very important. I use needles, and I buy these at the dollar store. They come in big packs. And what I do is after I put my hot glue under there, I actually impale them with those needles. They work like little nails or even little rivets. You'll see me use them in other cases, but you see how I put them right through with a little bit of glue right through the Velcro. Okay, and I'm gonna just peel that off. That gives me the strength, because if you don't do that, what happens is in time that Velcro is gonna peel off. Okay, so there it is. And then this one's actually a little tight because there's also a piece of craft wood. That's an important material. Piece of craft wood that goes right into the corrugation there, and basically that gives it a little more stability as well. Okay, so it kind of helps to align the pieces. And again, there I'm pushing it in and putting my Velcro down. It's a very it's an odd method. I'm gonna say, you know, I could use magnets. You know, if you use like earth magnets are excellent for this kind of stuff because they're very small, they're very strong. But remember, the main objective in all my projects is to work only with what I have. That's kind of the challenge, is to work with what I have. And so not like order stuff, even if I, you know, just to figure out different ways of doing the thing and making the thing work. Okay, but in future projects, when we do work with earth magnets, there's definitely a lot of things that I will be doing with this project would definitely benefit from those magnets, okay? But they're not exactly cheap. And so, again, this stuff is a hell of a lot cheaper. And I've been wanting to do this for a while because I've been wanting to experiment with this. Okay, so there you go. We have the ship attached. I have to attach this rear piece now. Okay, and then I'm going to start working on the details for the interior of the ship. And I'm going to be using this soft foam that you see here. Okay, and we're going to score it, and that's where these materials come in, because then I do all kinds of impressions. And once you put some Mod Podge over all of it, I can add some heat in certain areas to give texturing. Once you paint it, it looks really good. So I'm going to be using that material, and I use my clothespins quite extensively, the way I like to, in order to give me different shapes for areas that I want to close off and make like little chambers here, right? Okay, and then for the engine room, these huge nozzles there, we're going to make a little bit of terrain here to simulate like the reactors or whatever. So these two pieces will be the engine room. Okay, terrain for the interior part, that'll be another another video, another step. Just to give you a brief example, here are a couple of computers I made a while ago. These are really small. I'm going to make more, and these need a little bit of a touch-up. I'm going to make them a little differently now. But just to give an idea, so the bridge is going to have a nice big computer console in the front. We may even do like some windows, right? So we'll see how that goes. And then maybe a center chair here where the captain sits. And then we will probably put a bulkhead with a door, right? And then the rest of these areas, we will assign them to different like chambers, maybe some bunks, right? That's the kind of terrain. And then we could have some computer consoles here and there, and provide some areas of cover so that, you know, we can fight in the ship. Now remember, this is going to have 2 decks. 2, possibly 3, but 2 decks primarily. This is A deck, and we're going to finish all this first, and then we're going to go to B deck. All right, so now this I did this morning. This is a large piece of wood, okay, and it's a nice thick, very strong piece. And then you see my clothespins there, and I made these modular A-frames, okay, and you can see some of the foam in there. I'm going to be decorating that interior if I decide to use these. You can see how I use the little needles there, like rivets, okay? And basically these are modular, and then this thing hooks up nicely right there, okay? This whole thing is modular. And what it does is it provides me a nice structural stronghold to be able to then put B deck up on top. Now, there's some things that have to happen here. This has to be a little wider. I'm going to add some more supports. And then with Velcro, B deck will attach right on top. And B deck will be it'll be a little narrower. It's going to be narrower than A deck, okay? And it's not exactly the same shape, but it is going to follow kind of the overall shape of A deck, of this thing I have down here. So that will give me another platform, but plenty of space to move figures through here, even though there's going to be a little bit of a platform here, okay? And of course, I'm decorating the wood, and all of that will have to be spray painted. You won't see the wood really. You would only see like the edges down here. So that can all be decorated and painted. And then this would give me a nice kind of support for B-deck. And I can add another bulkhead over here and have the platform, another platform, come out here this way. Okay, and here are some computer consoles for the bridge. So, but we're going to put this away for now. I'm not sure if that's the technique I'm going to use. For right now, I don't want to worry about B-deck. I'm going to make first A-deck. I'm going to finish it all up. And B-deck will be another video, okay? But they kind of look cool. I mean, the A-frames don't look bad. And the more I decorate them, the more details I add, you know, it'll look better. And of course, they would have to be spray painted, probably with some metallic paint, because these are actually bulkheads like this. So we'll see. We'll see if that's the route I'll go. That'll be topic for another video. So I'm going to attach these little rectangular pieces, these little tiles, to the side of the ship. And I think these are going to have like torpedo tubes in them. So we're going to make a torpedo tube and then maybe some torpedoes or something there. Or they could just be like bunks. They could be like little areas for bunks. And so what I did is I just marked where my Velcro is, where my little sticks are, because again, what I like to do in order to strengthen the connection is I use these sticks, go into the corrugation, these pegs, and they're glued on one side and not glued on the other. So they serve as little pegs, and then I use my Velcro to hold it together, okay? So it produces a very nice little system where if I move one thing, everything's going to move, right? Also, when I place these tiles and they're ready to play and they're all painted, they're going to go on a nice black space mat that I've made, okay? So it should be pretty cool. All right, so I just marked where these are going to be, and then these things are going to be inserted right into these corrugation areas, and then we're going to attach it to the other side. All right, so this peg is already inserted by the arrow. It's one of the corrugation pieces, and it's a little over an inch. That's about the distance I use. They don't have to be too long. Just they will serve as guides, and they help strengthen the joining when I add the Velcro. So both my little pegs are in, and again, I like that this folds. It's going to be very useful. And now just choose which of my little things match best, and there it is. And so for now it attaches, and I'm just going to use my yardstick to kind of see if that was the right, okay? And yeah, it's not too bad. All the way down to the other wing, and there it is. All right, so measuring is definitely very useful in these cases. All right, so I just got to add the Velcro to attach that piece. Before I attach the Velcro to that little rectangular piece there, I'm going to show how I attach the bigger piece that's going to be part of the engine room. So I'm going to choose one of the corrugation areas, and I will need some glue here, and I think I'm going to use tacky glue for this. So grab my tacky glue, and again, I trust this stuff more than I do hot glue, and I add a nice generous amount, and only one side is going to be glued, so I chose it's this one. I try to get it in the middle, but it doesn't have to be perfectly in the middle either, as long as it provides some support. And we have to be careful not to rip the cardboard on any side, okay? So that's it. Now I'm going to trim it, okay? And then I'm going to do a little point. That just helps it to insert, you know, nicely into the cardboard. And if I need to file things, I do. Okay, there we go. It doesn't have to be a terribly sharp point, but giving it the point, whoops, sorry. giving it the point definitely helps to insert the other piece. Okay. And yep, it's in. All right. So now that I had my hole, it goes right in there. Now we're going to use the Velcro. And I usually put my Velcro on the other side of the little stick here. So let's just turn this over. It's cool how the Velcro holds everything together. I love Velcro. It's a material that is often overlooked, but I find that it really does work. I mean, it sounds silly, I guess, right? Considering all the modern materials that you could use, like, for example, earth magnets, which do work great. I mean, earth magnets are really the best. But I don't have, right now, I don't want to deal with the expense right now, because I need a lot of them. So, but we are going to work with earth magnets. There's a lot of things that you can do with them. They are pretty extraordinary. All right, so I cut my pieces. Nothing really, you know, difficult about that. And basically, I decide which side's going to be the fuzzy part. And I'm going to use this part, the little hooks. They're going to go on one side of the cardboard like that. Okay, and it's on either side of that peg. Okay, and then the other piece is going to go, basically the fuzzy part is what I'm going to glue. So, and then that's going to go there so that they can attach. All right, so let me just do that and then I'll be right back. Okay, so my Velcro pieces are hot glued. Why don't we pull this out a minute? And now the important thing is to puncture with the needle very carefully. Okay, and it goes right through. Needle goes right through. And I'm going to do the other one. Actually, I didn't put glue on these because the hot glue is still wet underneath, so it's going to get into the needle. Okay, now the part where you really have to be careful is when chopping this. I find that usually at an angle, it's not too bad. You want to be very careful because these things could fly. You don't want it. In fact, I have eye protection that I wear. I'm not wearing any now, but you have to be very, very careful, especially if there's someone else. If you're clipping this, these things will fly out and it could, you know, hit somebody. You don't want that. So the other side, the knobby ends on the other side, sorry. I go in and cut them as close to the cardboard as possible. And then just add a little bit of hot glue because they're going to be covered by that foam. Okay. So add a little bit of hot glue so this way there's no sharp edges, and that's it. So this one's done. All right. So now all of my little needle bits are in there. I don't have any adhesive that will be strong enough to really hold this without using the little needles. So that's why I use the little needles. Again, I'm using only what I have either in the studio or in the office. You know, only the materials that I have. All right, so now that's pretty much done. And now we just have to add some glue to the fuzzy part and give it a good distance. These didn't have to be so long, but make sure they're lined up. And next, I'm going to do the same with the other side. All right, now I got to do the little needles on that side, and then we're done. Okay, so I showed that to show how I attach the Velcro. So now this can spin about And I can do the other side, the little rectangular piece. Hey guys, so my phone died unfortunately, and I had to recharge it before I can finish this video. But no matter, because really what I was doing, I'll just describe it so you guys get an idea of where I'm going. I took out some of my terrain, and I'm kind of playing around with the position of the reactors and all that stuff. There's like a little CPU rack there that I made. And these things are going to be magnetized, okay? Oh, yeah, I said I wasn't going to use earth magnets, but I did find magnetic strips in my supply. So I will be, using that. So I started on all the walls, and that's what these things represent. These will separate all the little chambers and, crew quarters and all that stuff. So I started outlining all of the tiles with the craft sticks and the clothespins. And these clothespins uh, I get about a pack of 44 for $1. And I usually buy 2 or 3 of these. And I have tons and tons of clothespins in all different sizes. I really, really like to use them. And I'm going to show you a little bit of why um, I like to use them, if I can just focus here. So you see how the clothespins naturally have all these little angles and these little spaces in there. So I use all that to get my angles, my shapes. You can see here, I actually cut the clothespin and then filed it down, gave it an angle, and it fit nicely into the angle of another one. And I do the same thing here. Okay, and these are just all examples. Here I went and took a clothespin and then used the little angle there, and then put just a straight craft stick to change things up a little bit. Okay, so that happens all around the ship, and that's going to represent the bulkheads and the walls and everything else. And I have to finish that because it's not finished. Now I'm going to leave this crease. We could put terrain there, but that I wanted to fold this way. The whole body of the ship kind of folds. And now the other thing I did, and this part is, this is going to happen all over the tiles, and I'll film it next time. I take these tools, these small tools, right, and I use them to, and really press them in hard. And sometimes I will heat this up a little bit and push it in, and it makes some real nice indentations. And you can see, if I can get up close, you can see all the different things. Now this part here, I took this thing, okay, and I pretty much pressed it in there, right? And that makes a lovely little like grid pattern there. It's really cool. And I keep doing that all around. You see quite a few things. There's a circle there. I mean, a little like rivets and stuff. All of these things are done with various little tools, and I just press them in there. And I'll have, in my next video, I'll be a little more organized, and I'll show you guys what I do. Now with this one, for example, this thing, I heat it up a little bit sometimes and press it right in there. Now I don't always have to heat it. I could just do that, and basically it just leaves, depending on how hard I push in, it leaves those markings. This stuff doesn't have a lot of memory, so it's pretty cool. When you press it in there, it's gonna hold. And then basically I just cover it in Mod Podge, put a coat of Mod Podge, and it'll save the imprint. And basically the pencil ones also stay in very nicely. I used a ruler for that and just made my lines, and I need to make a few more lines. And that's basically going to be for every tile in the ship, okay? So that's going to do some really cool texturing. So I'm going to make some new computer monitors, but I think these will work very well. And underneath here, I will put a couple of metal washers, and I have one right here. Okay, and this is a magnetic strip. I just found I had a whole big roll of this, and just this is actually pretty strong. And so all I have to do is cement those washers there and have some of these strips in certain areas, and I could actually have my terrain pieces, you know, stay put. So that's pretty cool. And when you lift it, see, it's a nice strong strip there. So it's not an earth magnet, but it'll definitely work. Here's that magnetic strip, and I bought this for like $5, something like that, $5 or $6 at Walmart. I've had it for a long time, and it's a huge roll. I'll have to check the price again. This is actually an older roll. But it works well, and it'll definitely work for my purposes. And of course, I took out my xenomorphs and started messing around with some xenomorphs and a tyrannid there. So I'm actually playing before even finishing the ship here. So this still needs a lot of work, but we'll take it little by little. Take it little by little, and can't wait till it's all painted. All right. So there we go. Let's go around a little bit. Okay, so there's the front. And so this orange part is the bow going over to the stern. All right, so we'll see. This is an interesting table, and I'm glad that I got involved in this project. It's going to be a very interesting ship tile system for our war games. All right, and so this is part 1, which is going to be just a deck, right? Deck A, and then we're going to do B deck, which is the top deck. And for that, we'll see where I go with that. Okay, so there's more to this project, folks. All right. All right, well, I've worked enough today and I'm pretty tired. It's time to go inside, and I have to go inside soon because Julie has dinner. And we all know, we don't want to get her upset. We all know how she rolls those critical 20s every time. So, yeah, so it's time to clean up, and we'll continue this tomorrow. This has to be cleaned up by Friday because Julie and I have a Dragon Rampant game this weekend for you guys, and it's going to take place here in the studio. So hopefully in the studio. I think it's going to be warm this whole week. So from now on, I think things are going to be a lot warmer. So, all right, folks, thank you very much, and I hope to talk very soon. And welcome to all new subscribers. We have a lot of fun here, so have fun, and we'll talk soon.